I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime, and this is Currents. You may not have heard of Saint Dymphna. We'll find out why many are turning to her.
Dymphna knew what anxiety, loneliness, grief, and depression were all about.
It's music to our ears. The host of Ictus EQ pays us a visit.
It's not just band guys rocking out, singing, playing their guitars. There's actually a story and a message in each video.
And there were St. Paul's letters, but today's apostles prefer email.
As the Pope asks of us to understand the language and to be present in this new culture.
Well, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. It's one of the most common medical issues in the world, but one that most people don't really even want to talk about. It's mental illness. By one estimate, it affects as many as 1 in 4 Americans, encompassing everything from anxiety and depression to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Well, a little-known saint is the patron and intercessor for all of those suffering from mental disease, and she's Saint Dymphna. She's an Irish saint from the 7th century. And earlier this week at St. Patrick's Cathedral, they hosted a healing mass in her honor.
Saint Dymphna, the patron saint of mental health, the patroness of those who suffer with mental illness. She's an Irish saint. How fitting it is that this first Mass in her honor in New York City is celebrated right here in the Irish Cathedral of St. Patrick that the Irish built. We come tonight to celebrate the sacraments of the Holy Eucharist and the anointing of the sick.
We come together as church to lift up its members who need our support.
Probably people were surprised how many were here and that they are not alone. I mean, mental illness affects 1 out of 4 of us, so we could get everybody off the street in here.
And in our suffering, we had a son who was afflicted with a mental disorder. And in the moments of despair, as we all have had them, I've asked myself, and we have asked ourselves, where do we go and to whom do we turn?
She's a model of mental health. She ran from her father, a cruel pagan king. Her mother, whom she loved dearly, had just died. Dymphna knew what anxiety, loneliness, grief, and depression were all about. She knew the threat of wanting to be abused by her father. She suffered all these mental disorders, and yet, through it all, she kept her eyes firmly fixed on Jesus.
We can help others and ourselves by spreading the good news about Saint Dymphna and giving support to one another. Remember, we are the church.
I'm just moved beyond words. I've been in mental health in the field since 1967, and in all that time, I've never seen such a moving celebration, and it's a celebration. And the need that I saw, and the relief that I saw. There was a woman with her family over on my left, and she was just, tears were streaming down her face with the priest where he was healing her. Beautiful, beautiful. I can't get over the number of people. I thought there'd be about 50 people here. I'm amazed. I shouldn't be amazed because mental illness, some form of mental illness affects all of us. If you just think about it, you know a friend, or you have a family member, or an acquaintance, somebody is affected by mental illness.
He knows all about us, mentally, physically, emotionally. And his heart, his most sacred heart, is filled with love and compassion and healing for each of us.
Well, stay tuned. There's much more Currents coming up straight ahead. When we come back, we'll have the day's headlines, including thousands of priests gathering in Rome to mark the end of the year for priests. That and much more when we return. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime. Coming up just a bit later, technology and ministry go hand in hand. More priests are using the internet than ever before.
But first, let's check today's headlines. Well, thousands of priests are in Rome to mark the end of the year for priests. It's a year that's been marred by controversy over allegations of clerical sex abuse worldwide. But as we hear now from Rome Reports, the Vatican's #2 man says while the scandal has damaged the church, it's also shown the need for spiritual renewal.
In front of 4,000 priests, the Vatican's second highest authority, Cardinal Tarcisio Bertoni, said cases of sexual abuse undermine the church's credibility. But he also said that the pain caused by this will bring us spiritual renewal. It was during a gathering of priests from all over the world organized by the Focolare and Schoenstatt movement for the ending of the year for priests. The cardinal said the Pope is calling for conversion and purification.
We must follow the path to conversion, purification, and reconciliation with courage. Look for new paths to bring youths the beauty and richness of friendship with Jesus Christ in the communion with your church.
Cardinal Bertone repeated words the Pope said on his way to Portugal, saying persecution of the church is born from sins of people from within the church. He also said celibacy is understood when one sees a priest as a man of God, not only when he prays or celebrates the sacraments, but in his whole life when he shows the love and mercy of God. For that reason, he said mankind needs priests who give themselves unconditionally.
Some estimates say as many as 14,000 priests are in Rome to celebrate the end of the year for priests. Now, the official closing will take place on Friday when Pope Benedict is scheduled to celebrate a Mass in St. Peter's Square. Well, it is a busy week for the pontiff. This morning, Benedict met with the Prime Minister of Spain at the Vatican. The two discussed the European economic crisis as well as Spain's new law weakening restrictions on abortion. We get more now on the meeting from Rome Reports.
Benedict XVI and Spanish Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero met in private for 30 minutes in the Vatican. Zapatero cordially greeted the Pope and complimented the physical appearance of Benedict XVI. Benedict XVI said a few words in Spanish, which Zapatero said he pronounced very well. Nevertheless, the two spoke with the help of an interpreter. According to the Vatican, they discussed the role of ethics in the financial crisis, the situations in Cuba and the Middle East, the freedom of religion law project in Spain, and the protection of life. Benedict XVI gave Zapatero a bronze bas-relief of the Vatican in the year 1600, and Zapatero brought the Pope a large book on the history of the El Escorial Monastery in Madrid. As they said goodbye, José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero mentioned the Pope's next visit to Spain, which is planned for November. This was the first time Zapatero had visited Benedict XVI, as their first meeting took place in Valencia during the Pope's visit in June 2006.
Pope Benedict will visit Spain later this year ahead of next year's World Youth Day in Madrid. The Pope will also make a trip to the United Kingdom this fall, and it's looking more and more likely that he'll get to enjoy a live performance by Scottish singing sensation Susan Boyle. Reports say negotiations are still underway, but a spokesman for the Catholic Church in Scotland says Boyle, who is Catholic, is expected to perform as part of the papal mass in Glasgow. Boyle gained popularity after her breakthrough performance on the reality show Britain's Got Talent.
The only Catholic parish in a city in northern China is gone. Reports say government officials demolished the church building to make way for a larger road. The church in Ordo City was registered with the government and apparently had permission to operate, but one witness said police handcuffed the parish priest and a lay leader as the building was being torn down. The demolition happened in the middle of the night and was reportedly the result of a court order. The Archdiocese of Mexico City this week condemned the shooting death of a 15-year-old Mexican boy by a U.S. Border Patrol agent. That agent reportedly opened fire because the teen was throwing rocks at him. The Archdiocese said in a statement, there is nothing that can justify that an agent opened fire on the victim and that the shooting makes the border situation even worse. The teen will be buried in Juarez, Mexico today. Meantime, family and friends of another person who died after a run-in with Border Patrol agents mourned him at his funeral Wednesday. 32-year-old Anastasio Hernandez Rojas was killed Friday night after he and his brother tried to cross over the border into California. Border Patrol agents say they were returning the men to Mexico, but when they removed the handcuffs from Hernandez Rojas, he became violent. That's when they tasered him and he stopped breathing. His funeral was held in Lemon Grove, that's a community west of San Diego. Hernandez Rojas' relatives said he lived illegally in San Diego County for 20 years before he was deported. The Mexican Foreign Ministry says it condemns the acts that caused his death. And finally, an iconic Manhattan building won't light up in honor of Mother Teresa, if they don't, but maybe one in Brooklyn will. Borough President Marty Markowitz says that if Empire State Building Management continues to refuse to shine lights for the legendary nun's 100th birthday, then he will light up Brooklyn Borough Hall instead. Empire State Building managers said no to the Catholic League's request for the honor this week, saying they have a policy against lighting the skyscraper in honor of religious figures. The New York City Council is considering a resolution endorsing the request.
Well, stay tuned. There's much more Currents coming up. Just ahead, it's a show of note here on the net. We'll talk to the host of Ichthus EQ.
A lot of great personalities with the bands, and there's definitely something for everyone. You're going to want to get on your iTunes and start downloading all of this music.
Welcome back. Well, for the last couple of years, the net has been alive with the sound of music. The music, of course, the universal language. We've heard it spoken fluently by some of the guests on one of the net's most popular shows.
This is true. The show is called Ichthus EQ, and it's a music video series that showcases some of the biggest and best talents in Christian music. Tonight, continuing our week-long look at the net's new season, our Natalia Ortiz sits down to chat with the host of Ichthus EQ, Mari White.
Mari, you've been hosting Ichthus EQ for about 4 seasons now.
Yes.
First of all, I want to ask you, what's up with the name? Like, a lot of people, you know, don't know what Ichthus is, what it means,
right.
And then the EQ at the end is kind of misleading as well. Or at least it's a little confusing, I should say, not misleading.
No, everyone says that. Well, Ichthus is the Jesus fish. I have a little Ichthus on my ring. And the EQ as in equilibrium for music, so you can put that together and you have Christian music.
About 20 bands, the producer Pat was telling me, have gone through the show throughout the 4 seasons. Is there one band in particular that you want to mention that really struck a nerve? Or, I don't know. Is there a story to tell?
I'm going to get Pat for this one. I love all the bands. One of the biggest bands that we met during the first year was a group called Relient K, and they're very popular, both secular world and the Christian music world. So they were fantastic. One of my favorite groups that I've read more recently is a band called the Newsboys. They're like my favorite. I love everyone else too, but these guys are my favorite. They have a lot of things going on, and they just changed the lead singer, who was originally with DC Talk, who's now with the Newsboys.
So with everything that's on television to watch, right, and the internet now too, why do you say, or why do you think people should watch Ichthus EQ this season?
Well, it's fun. It's good music. It's entertaining to watch. A lot of times the videos, they're telling a story, so it's not just band guys rocking out, singing, playing their guitars. There's actually a story and a message in each video, so it's a lot of fun. The quality of the songs and the message is just amazing. And we have a little something new this season. We have new places that we go. We go to festivals and we interview some of the bands, and we even get some footage on them performing at these great festivals. So that's a little something new for this upcoming season.
Good. Well, speaking of festivals, I know you're going to hate me, but Pat also said to me there's an interesting anecdote from Agape Fest that you might want to share with us about something. I don't know if it's funny, but it's definitely, there was a power outage situation.
My gosh. Oh, I forgot all about that. Yes, we went to Agape Fest, which was amazing in Illinois, and great festival, great people. And we were there outside all day. People are camping out in their tents. but we had a hotel room, so we go to the hotel room. And the whole town just shuts down, blackout. Thunderstorms, lightning, crazy. I'm thinking there's going to be tornadoes. I have my little flip camera like, oh my gosh, all the lights are out. It was crazy lightning storm. So
wow.
It was for several hours too. So that was definitely scary but fun. And I just kept thinking about the poor young people who were sitting in the tents outside, camping out that night. So
well, still, I'm sure it was very inconvenient not to have power. So thank you for sticking it out for, for our audience. I guess
we were all trying to use little flashlights and little tea candles. So it was kind of fun. It made it very. Makes a good story.
Right. So give me a sense a little bit more about the difference between Ichthus EQ. I know it's a Christian music video show, but what do you think is really the thing that would make people want to watch the show?
It's something that you don't have to worry about watching as far as seeing anything that is too mature for young people or too young for mature people. It's a little something for everyone. We have hip-hop, pop, rap, rock. We're even bringing in like more metal. Like there's some really great Christian like hardcore metal music and with a positive message. So it's something that everyone can find a little pleasure in. And a lot of great personalities with the bands, and there's definitely something for everyone. You're going to want to get on your iTunes and start downloading all of this music.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mari, for being with us today. We've run out of time, but I'm sure our audience will see much more of you every Thursday at 8 p.m. here on the net. So thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I've caught it a couple times after watching Carts and looking at the net, and it's funny because I'm just bouncing around my apartment and I'm listening to the music that's on. And I'm saying to myself, you know, this is really cool. And then I realized that, hey, that's Ichthus EQ. And that's, you know, Christian music.
You're literally bouncing around your apartment, kind of dancing to the beat there. I love the fact that there's something for everybody too. You know, she mentioned there's even, you know, metal and you know, everything from pop and rock and everything in between. I really like that. And I also like the fact I had no idea that the Newsboys had been on the show, and that Michael Tate, who used to be with DC Talk, is now the lead singer of the Newsboys. Because those are two bands, like I grew up listening to these people. And like they're like changing and crossing over, and it was cool. And Relient K, another one that she mentioned, very good band as well. They've kind of crossed over into the secular world, and they do things on the Christian side, on the secular side. So they're having some big names over on Ichthus EQ. You got to check them out.
Yeah, definitely some popular music with a message. Well, Ichthus EQ airs on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right after Currents, as I mentioned, and you can check out more by visiting the Net website at netny.net.
Now, tomorrow night we'll head to Hollywood, or at least Brooklyn's version of it, as we check out some of the movies that are part of the Faith Film Festival. You won't want to miss that. But in the meantime, stay with us. We'll be right back.
When we return, they've got mail, how more priests are using the internet.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, tomorrow concludes a year-long celebration. It's the Year for Priests. The year's been a powerful reminder of what the priesthood means, and a tribute really to a way of life and a way of living that's as old as the church itself.
But as ancient as the priesthood may be, many priests today are giving their ministry a bit of a modern twist, using tools that the first priests could never have imagined. We get more tonight from Rome Reports.
The majority of priests, 94%, use internet each day. A study on how priests use the internet has confirmed this. It was carried out by 2 universities and supported by the Vatican.
The Congregation for the Clergy should and wants to offer practical pastoral instructions for the formation and the activity of the priest, also in the digital world. It really is surprising to see how there is this real desire by priests to understand the language and to be present in this new culture, as the Pope asks of us.
The report is based on data on 4,992 priests, 1.2% of the total. Half of them consider use of the internet very useful in helping them prepare their homilies, and almost all use the internet to gather information or to carry out activities of the church. Also, 72% think the internet is a good way to carry the faith in the world, and 52.5% consider it positive for spreading the Christian message. At the same time, 79% of surveyed priests believe the digital world is very useful to connect with others. although only 26% access social websites like Facebook or Hi5 habitually. Most consider that the internet does not serve for prayer or for offering spiritual advice. Only 27% use it for these purposes.
The finding that has surprised me most in a positive way is that there is unanimity from those surveyed on the usefulness of the Internet's digital technology for the formation of priests to update and improve education. In the way in which the priest is better prepared in the world of technology, he can grow and provide useful criteria to many people, priests or laity, who later carry out their activities on the Internet or activities of evangelization.
The goal right now is to bring awareness to future priests on the importance of new technologies, but overall to improve the quality of Catholic sites, and that to be on the internet is a way and not an end.
You know, the Catholic Fellowship here in New York does a lot on the internet and on Facebook. We've done a few stories with them before,
yes, they do,
and they're really into it. And also, do you know what Zoogle is, or Zoogling is?
I've heard of it. Bring me up to speed.
Social media for Catholics. It's basically Facebook, but it's all about Catholicism and for Catholics.
Well, how cool.
So yeah, I might be doing a report on that sometime. You never know.
You never know. You never know what we're going to cover. And we've, covered a lot of technology on the show. I mean,
yeah,
we did the, and there are websites out there, of course, we've got a website, and the Diocese of Brooklyn has a website. I went and did this special report one time on the Diocese of Trenton website that they have, where parishes and people from all over the diocese upload. It's like a YouTube for their diocese. So, I mean, you see a lot of people using the internet in every sort of way. Folks over in Manhattan with Busted Halo use the internet as their, source of, or as their form of media, period. I mean, they do the podcasts there and all the articles, so it's everywhere. And it's nice to hear that so many priests are using it and they're coming around to doing that, because you have to go where the people are.
Well, it's a new way of evangelizing in the Jewish sense of the word. Yeah, it's casting the net on the internet.
There we go, the internet.
Well, we will have much more on the conclusion of the year for priests coming up tomorrow, including a special look at where many vocations begin, the family.
Well, that is it for tonight, though. In the meantime, remember, you can always catch us online. We're over at currentsny.net. And you can check out our Facebook page, too. I told you, we're everywhere online, so check us out there.
And we're on Twitter as well. Okay.
Yes, we are.
I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
We are.